The third Welland Canal was completed in 1887. Right behind me is the very first lock where boats would enter from Lake Ontario here in Port Dalhousie. A few hundred feet away lies the first lock of the second Welland Canal. We'll save that for another video. In the meantime, let's journey up to Lock 2, but before we get there, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on your notifications to get updates of when Imagination Studios releases more content. As we make our way through Martindale Pond, we approach Lock 2. A large portion of the third canal has been buried and is completely inaccessible. Up ahead, you will see a tunnel that's part of a storm drain system for the area. Now, in exploring this area, we made an interesting discovery. A foot under the surface is a small sunken boat. No one seems to know how it got here or where it's from. We were able to get some footage in the murky water and learned this lock is around 10 to 12 feet deep currently. The boat, on the other hand, appears to be about 15 to 20 feet long. After Lock 2, the rest of the canal is buried as it literally runs through the heart of the city. Our next visible lock is Lock 11. Very well preserved, Lock 11 is part of the reservoir for the current Welland Canal. Lock 12, on the other hand, is a very different situation. The tests of time have not been kind. Coming in from the Lake Ontario side, both sides near the entrance have collapsed down into the water below. After Lock 12, 13 to 19 is the biggest cluster of locks in a small area along the third canal's route. One interesting discovery that we made was that all the locks in the third canal have a hardwood bottom. Under the water, you'll see these. They were to protect the hulls of ships from damage. The next lock is Lock 21. Now, you're probably wondering, where's 20? Well, it's right here. Don't you see it? Hold on. Let's quickly change the time of the year. Lock 20 is only visible during the winter months. Once the current canal is drained, the lock becomes visible and is very well preserved. A large portion of it is buried in the silt below. This area was also one of great tragedy. Buried not too far from Lock 20 is an old cemetery. During the creation of the fourth canal, this area became flooded and many of the graves were not relocated. There are still remnants of the gravestone bases visible when it's drained in the winter months. Not far from here, in 1874, a mass burial of 16 American soldiers was discovered from the Battle of Beaver Dams and were relocated to the Battle of Beaver Dams Park. Tragedy doesn't end here. A boat collided with Lock 22's doors in 1912, unleashing a tidal wave that headed downstream. 4 young boys were fishing and were swept away by the rushing water. A local man jumped in and attempts to save the boys, but only one was rescued. We're going to jump to Lock 24. Now, it's long gone, either removed or buried, but it was the site of a terrorist attack. In 1900, an Irish-American plot was carried out to blow up the canal. It's not entirely conclusive the reasoning behind the attack, but 2 explosions rocked the gates of Lock 24. The impact was minor and very little damage actually occurred. 3 men were arrested and sentenced to life in prison. We have a link in the description box below with more detailed information. Lock 25 is another victim of the passages of time. It's been filled in and the area is largely overgrown. As you can see, there are a few parts still visible today. There is a great distance to the final lock, Lock 26 in Port Colborne, that leads into Lake Erie. Lock 26 exists to this day and is connected to the current Welland Canal. A lot of history connects Lake Ontario and Erie, and we'll dive into it more in future videos. For now, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on your notifications because there is more to come.